Hi, I'm Nan Simonson. I decided to do this video because I got a new Instant Pot that I wanted to test out. You're supposed to test them with water. I did that, but it's out. I'll use it. My last one broke. I had gotten it at Costco. I don't know if you've ever gotten anything from Costco that you needed to bring back. No questions asked, boom, boom. They found the receipt. I got a new one that same, within half an hour. And I love my Instant Pot. I hope you have one. They're marvelous. I am going to be doing a cooking class tomorrow for Lifestyle Medical, the clinic that I work with in Riverside, California. I do an hour-and-a-half cooking class, basically a menu of whole food, plant-based foods. I am the author of Aging Powerfully. The full title is Accept Your Past and Take Control of Your Future. I did that. I had a lifelong eating disorder and I took control of that. That was 3 years ago, boom, boom. That's also not part of my life. And I attribute that to first of all, my determination to be done with it. Also a book I read, Brain Over Binge, and adopting a whole food plant-based diet that is so good for my system that I am so balanced, so satisfied, so healthy that my neurotransmitters are in full control rather than my needing to use food to get it that way. You can read more about that in Aging Powerfully, my book. And also love it if you pass this on to other people, even though that's not what the video is about. What I'm doing today is something super simple, so I'll get with it. And that is, I'm making quinoa. What's the big deal about quinoa? Some people call it a superfood because it's in the grain category and it's one of the fastest cooking grains. It's not a grain, it's actually a seed. And it has complete protein. You don't often find that in the grain and legume family. Soy is a complete protein as well in the legume family. And there are lots of different iterations of how you should cook it, which is interesting. If you get the bag and you look at the back, it says 2-to-1 ratio, 1 part quinoa to 2 parts water. I've got something different for you. 12 to 15 minutes, bring it to a boil, let it simmer, A lot of times I put things in the Instant Pot and walk away. That's what I love about it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. You can cook quinoa with a broth. You can see this isn't a broth, it's water, because I love mixing it with everything. Why do I love quinoa? Because it is not only a complete protein, it is high in fiber, it's high in nutrition. I'll read my notes to you. Not only is it high in fiber and protein and iron and copper, thiamine, and vitamin B6, but it's an excellent source of magnesium and phosphorus. That means at least 20% of the minimum RDA, and a good source of manganese, folate, and that means about 10% or over. It's a good food. It feeds your microbiome. Your microbiome loves it, and if your microbiome is happy, trust me, you're happy. And that's the other thing I attribute whole food plant-based to, because there's nothing but foods in the in the plant kingdom, not in the animal kingdom, that are loaded with fiber or that have fiber. Only plants have fiber. The only thing that feeds your microbiome and keeps it happy is the fiber. The byproducts of that ingestion of the fiber into your system is called short-chain fatty acids, and they affect everything: mood, brain function, cardiovascular system, on and on and on. Those short-chain fatty acids even regulate your hunger drive and your satisfaction chemicals, and that would be ghrelin to make you hungry and leptin to tell your body you're full. Short-chain fatty acids help with that. Let's get on with what I was going to do. So when you begin with quinoa, you make a choice. You can get white quinoa, red quinoa, brown quinoa. There are hundreds of different species of quinoa. This is a genus, the seed, and it is coated with something called a saponin or saponin, and it needs to be washed off. some of the brands, for example, if you get your quinoa from Costco, it's a huge bag, that's already been rinsed for you. But if not, you need to rinse it yourself. Then let me turn this a little bit because it's easy to do. Always keep wire whisks around, wire strainers around, and small enough for quinoa. Pour it in and rinse it off with cold water. And just rinse it really well. The saponin will give it a soapy flavor. It's irritating to your gut. It doesn't like it. This is no big deal. It takes a minute. Now I have a reverse osmosis unit under the sink. And so rather than just leaving my municipal water, I'm just going to run it under my filtered water just to kind of clean things up, because I don't really like what comes in our municipal water. I'm tapping it down to dry it a little bit and throwing it in the pot. I could choose to use salt or not. I'm going to put in a half a teaspoon of salt, and this is what's different from most of the recipes. This was 1.5 cups of quinoa. I'm putting in only 1 and just a tiny bit less than 2/3. So 1 and 2/3 minus a tablespoon maybe. And actually, I don't know if it really matters, but this was the combination that I was shown. And I tried it and it was perfect. And I'm gonna stir. I don't have a regular spoon. I'll just take the teaspoon I use, stir it. This is how I make my quinoa now. I will end up with a little more than 4 cups of perfectly cooked quinoa. I set my pressure cooker to 5 minutes. And if you know an Instant Pot, it's going to acknowledge that it's been set. It'll just make a beep to me and say, okay, there it is. I'm ready to go. It's going to build up pressure. It's going to be pressurized for 5 minutes. And then it'll start releasing pressure. I'm going to let it release for, my dryer's done. I'm going to let it release for 10 minutes and then take it off and flush it with a big serving fork. And then I usually, with all of my grains, will put them on a dinner plate, a big dinner plate or a platter, and just sort of spread them out, put them somewhere to cool. And then I can package them and put it in the refrigerator. What do I do with it? I'll serve it as a side dish, a high fiber, high protein side dish. Tomorrow when I do my cooking demonstration, I'm going to be offering a salad. Oh, that's marvelous. It's a strawberry kale salad. Or do I put strawberries? No, I'm not going to put strawberries in that, but it's a kale salad. We're celebrating St. Patty's Day, so we want a bright green salad. A kale salad with carrot and bell pepper, and I could put quinoa in that to make it more like a main dish, because then I crank up the protein. And the salad dressing, no fat, no oil of any kind, no sugar, is based on a whole orange. You can find that recipe. It'll be posted by the time you see this in nansimonson.com, my website, under recipes and under dressings. It's a really tasty one, and the kale salad is wonderful, and you'll find that under salads. And so I'll be showing them the quinoa and letting them know that they could do that with it, even though I'm offering it as a side dish to a, as I call it, almost free vegetable soup. You'll find that on my website as well. So I'm just leaving this. It's going to build up pressure. It's going to release pressure when it's done. I'll release it after 10 minutes. I've gone as long as a half an hour because I've forgotten it, and it made no difference. So this is a marvelous way of doing it. Now, this is how I buy it. I just go to the natural food store and buy it bulk. Because of COVID, almost everything is sealed. You don't scoop things up yourself. And so now they put it into packages, and I used this one for this amount. But you can buy it, you'll find quinoa well priced at just about any store. This one is from Trader Joe's. I get all of my grains organic, whether it needs to be rinsed of saponins, for example, the way quinoa does, or not. I rinse all of my grains. I rinse all of my beans before I use them. They're in silos after they're processed and dried, and who knows what else walks all over them. So I just think it's a great idea to rinse your grains. And I think that's it. I will attach a picture to this video so you can see what it looks like when it's done, or maybe a couple of phases of what I'm doing out on the plate, and then I might even show it to you in the salad tomorrow. But in any case, I hope you're having a great day. Please pass this on, and I'm having a great day, so share it with me. Bye-bye. Hi, I'm back. I do this all the time. I said I was going to give you a photo, and I thought, why not just show you? So I took the pressure off of the quinoa after, I think it was 15 minutes of a release time. And I wanted to show you what it looks like. This is what I mean by a big serving fork. And you'll see, it's loose and grainy, very hot still. And let me see. It has a nice crunch to it. You don't want it to be soggy or soupy. At least I don't. All right, and then when I said turn it out on a plate, you want it to you want it to cool and not get soggy. If it sits in a closed container, or a container that isn't breathing except off the top, like this pan, it'll take longer, it'll sort of get steamy underneath. There we go, that's gonna have to do. All right, and then you just move it around. I put it on my stovetop racks because then it cools underneath or cools on top, but I could do the same thing with this. Just a rack that allows the heat to go under and out. But I wanted to show you something else. I don't eat gluten, so I don't have wheat berries, barley, spelt, farro, what else? Rye. But I talked about the microbiome, only fed by fiber. Your microbiome loves a variety of fiber. The most healthy microbiomes are those with the most diversity. So it's a great idea to get a diverse collection. I'm sorry, I've got quinoa all over my mouth now. That wasn't cool. And you want a variety, and so I do a variety of grains. For example, in my rice cooker, I have brown rice. I use Lungrams. That's a California brand grown in California fields, so you're not going to find that same high level of arsenic, even though they admitted they have some. And arsenic is in rice because rice absorbs it readily, and it's grown in fields that used to have cotton in some areas of the United States where they used arsenic to kill the boll weevils. They put arsenic in chicken feed to pink up their flesh, and those feathers are used as a fertilizer. So it goes on and on. I still eat rice, but I don't eat it that often. I don't want it every day because all of it has some arsenic. And even though we can pass that on to a degree, if it is lower levels, because we get it from a lot of things in the environment, why eat it every day? So I have brown rice. I'm doing red beans and rice. I'm going to be posting that recipe to a wonderful red bean recipe that I did in the Instant Pot. I think I may have mentioned that. But I also keep oat groats. I just love oat groats. They are oats before you steel cut them, or before you roll them, or before you turn them into instant oats. All of those iterations of oats is this that has been processed. So this is as unprocessed as you can get with oats, and I love them. There's a recipe that I have online in my website, nansimonson.com, that tells how to do these in the Instant Pot as well. And I always keep a big batch of this, whoops, in the refrigerator. And this I make into morning oatmeal. I'm not going to go into all of that because I think I've posted it, or will be. And then I'm having a lot of fun with a new grain that I haven't done before. I do millet as well. I'll keep millet around, but this is sorghum. Sorghum is an ancient grain, thousands of years old. And I made some sorghum. Why am I showing you this? Because I'll mix the two. Why not take a seed like quinoa and high protein and mix it with an oat, or mix it with sorghum, or mix it with brown rice, or mix it in my morning oatmeal to get additional nutrients and additional different kinds of fibers and additional flavor. So all of these can be used in salads, in your own homemade meatloaves, but non-meat loaves. And eventually I'll have recipes for all of that, because I have the best time with grains, because this is something that I learned on a whole food plant-based diet, which means mainly starches, quite frankly. Greens, beans, greens aren't starches, but I eat greens and fruits and herbs and vegetables, but I eat a mass of whole plant foods like potatoes and grains and beans, and fill up with those, so the satisfaction level is always, always high. These are nature's comfort foods, nature's antidepressants, and nature's appetite suppressants. So I think that's all I have to say. Thank you for hanging out with me, and have a great day, because as I said, I'm going to. Bye.